Hello, my name's Catriona and I'm going to take you through a Pilates mat class. If you have any injuries or health conditions, please feel free to modify the movement as best to suit your body. I hope you enjoy your movement. So first of all, we're going to start off orienting ourselves with a little breathing exercise. We're going to place our feet hip-width apart on our mat, parallel, so that when we roll down, we've got our hips, knees and ankles in a nice straight alignment. You may need to move your body around a little bit more. Ideally, your feet are going to be directly below your knees or a little bit further away from your body, and you're going to come into your neutral spine and pelvis, just nice and relaxed, with your pelvic bones parallel to the ceiling. We're going to start off first of all placing our fingers on the outside of our rib cage and take a nice deep slow breath in through our nose, expanding our rib cage sideways and breathing out slowly and feeling the pressure release. We're going to do that a couple of times, breathing in and out, focusing on getting some space for your lungs to breathe within your rib cage. Feeling your rib cage pressing into your hands, going out to the side and moving away as it returns in. Relax. Next, you're going to place the two fingers next to your thumb on your lower abdomen, just inside those hip bones. Press them there firmly and relax. We're going to again breathe in through the nose, rib cage expanding sideways, and continue pressing the fingers firmly on your belly as you breathe out. Again, doing that a couple of times, connecting with your deep abdominal activation. Okay, place your arms in a relaxed position on the mat down the side of your body. Continue to breathe in through the nose, rib cage expanding sideways. And as you breathe out, you're going to tilt your pelvis towards your face, flattening your lower back into the mat. We're going to do that a couple of times, breathing in on the return. And as we exhale, flattening the spine into the mat, lengthening as we do so, warming up our lower back. And just becoming familiar with coming in and out of our neutral spine and pelvis. And getting our deep abdominal muscle activation on our out breath as we flatten. Take a little pause to reset. We'll go into our full pelvic roll up. We're going to inhale to prepare. As we exhale, we flatten and tilt, start to lift our sit bones up off the mat and roll all the way up, one vertebrae at a time, into a nice long bridge. And slowly roll down from the top of our spine, one vertebrae at a time, flattening our lower back into the mat and returning to neutral. Let's do that again a couple of times, exhaling to flatten and tilt and rolling up. Hips are staying level. And we're taking as long as possible as we roll down. On your next one, as you reach your bridge position, you're actually going to tuck your tailbone under even a little bit more to get a bit more length down the front top of your bridge. And roll down. And we can offer some arm variations. You're very welcome to leave your arms down on the mat. Otherwise, you might like to do a few more rolling up and down with your arms up to the ceiling. Or if you like, return your arms down to the mat, and as you exhale to roll up, this time the arms are going to go all the way over your head onto the mat behind you. Leave them there. As you slowly roll down, just getting a little bit more opening again in your upper thoracic and returning the arms back down to the mat last of all. We'll do a few more of those. And returning the arms, and one more, exhaling to to roll up, keeping tailbone tucked under, ribs closed, and rolling down and returning arms down last of all. We'll do a little hip roll release now. So we're going to start off placing our heel on the opposite thigh and gently fold out towards the knee, allowing your head to roll away from you. Ribs are closed. Bring it back, feeling your abdominals working as you do so, and go to the other direction. Again, allowing your head to move away from your legs. Switch sides, placing the other heel to the other thigh, and do exactly the same thing again. Making sure that you're controlling the movement and not letting gravity switch over. Okay, next we're going to place our feet back on the mat, hip width apart, and take them a little bit further away from your body until you have roughly a 90-degree angle underneath your knee joint. We're still in neutral spine and pelvis. We're going to go into some single leg floats. So first of all, lifting one leg up to 90-90 or tabletop, so 90 degrees at the hip joint, 90 degrees at the knee joint, and floating that leg back down. Float the other leg back up and lower it back down. You're keeping even pressure on your sit bones and keeping your pelvis neutral without moving it forwards or backwards. So we're just aiming to move within the hip joint and keep the knee joint as still as possible. Once we've done a couple each side, we're going to progress that. We're going to float one leg up and then exhale the second leg up to join it. Inhale the first leg down and exhale the second leg down, switching sides. Inhale up, and inhale down, exhale down. So switching over each time, your goal here is to keep your pelvis nice and stable and neutral and feel your abdominal muscles working, particularly on the out breath. Next, we will float one leg at a time up to 90-90 or tabletop, exhaling the second one up, moving into some heel taps. This time you're going to exhale to lower one heel to gently tap the mat and float it back up, and then the opposite leg floats down and returns back up. We want to keep our speed nice and steady here, not speeding up or slowing down. And again, feeling our abdominal muscles work to stabilise our position. If at any point you feel abdominal muscles fatiguing and other parts of your body starting to switch over, feel free to rest, reset your position, and do a few more. Next one is to bring our arms up to shoulder height, shoulder width. Palms are facing each other. This time we're going to exhale as we extend opposite arm and leg away from each other and slowly return them back in. This is also a coordination exercise. So exhaling arm and leg away and returning. Your shoulder blades are staying nice and flat and nice and spread out on your mat. As you exhale your leg out, it's going to around 45 degrees, so roughly halfway between the floor and the ceiling. Again, your goal is to keep your pelvis nice and neutral here. See if you can extend arm and leg at the same time so that they reach full extension at the same time and they reach their starting point at the same time as well. Okay, let's lower one foot down to the mat at a time. Relax your arms down and we will go into some curl-ups. So placing your hands firmly behind your head and elbows out to the side. Fingers are laced together. We will breathe in to prepare. As we breathe out, we're going to curl up chin into chest, rolling up one vertebrae at a time, looking between our legs straight ahead and slowly resist as we come back down and relax our elbows last of all. Breathe in to prepare again. And breathing out, abdominals on, flattening and lengthening. As you curl up, shoulder blades coming slightly off the mat and coming down again and relaxing. And relaxing. Okay, we are going to go into single leg stretch next. Bring one knee into your chest, place one hand up on the top of the shin, outside arm goes hand to outside of ankle. Exhale, curl up, chin into chest, looking straight between your legs, shoulder blades are slightly off the mat. As you breathe out, you're going to switch the legs over, extending out to 45 degrees and creating a hip fold as your knee comes in towards you. So you want to think about stretching out in both directions, not just one. And nice slow breaths out as you do this. Legs are staying hip width apart. Again, legs are going out roughly to a 45-degree angle. Bring both knees into your chest, hands go down to the bottom of your shins. Double arm and leg stretch comes next. This time we're going to extend both our arms and legs away from each other, squeezing our legs together. Exhale as you reach them nice and long, and inhale as you return the knees back in. Start off a little higher as your legs are very heavy and you want to maintain stability in your spine and pelvis. Of course, you can challenge yourself if you wish to by going a little lower as long as you're able to maintain that stability. Next, place your hands back behind your head, fingers clasped together to go into crisscross. We will extend our left leg out, look at your right kneecap, and then as you breathe out, switch over. And switch, and switch, and switch, and switch, and switch. Bring the knees back into the chest, relax the head down, hands go onto shins, and reward yourself with a nice little lower back release here. So just gently taking the knees up into the chest, out to the side, down and around a couple of times, and switching directions as well. Okay, next we're going to come into a nice chest opener. So if you have an apparatus at home like this, please feel free to use it. Otherwise, a jacket folded up will do just as well, but something that supports your head and neck alignment so that you're comfortable. We're going to come into a side lie position and bring our lower arm out to the front, palm up to ceiling, knees in front of us and feet below, palms are together. We want to keep our hips side by side here and even draw our top hip down a little bit away from the armpit, so that if we were standing, our hips are now level and not collapsed. Okay, so as you exhale, you're going to slowly rotate your ribs around your spine and allow your arm to fold out behind you, palm up to ceiling. And inhale, bring the arm forwards and rotate the ribs around the spine forwards, getting a nice little stretch here behind the top of your shoulder. You want to keep your knees nice and still and together. You can experiment with the breath pattern if you like. But we want to get a little bit of rotation in our upper spine. It's a beautiful release. Just careful that we're keeping those knees together and not rolling backwards or forwards. As you go back, the palm should be facing up to the ceiling, arms slightly higher than the shoulder. Another option is to vary it a little bit. As you go back, you circle your arm above your head, still palm up to ceiling, and come back the same way. Bending the elbow first and then allowing the arm to go forwards. Okay, we will switch over and do some on the other side so that we're nice and even. So come down to side lie position on the other side. And again, set yourself up with your palms forward, knees just in front of your belly and feet below. Again, hips level. And do the same thing again on the other side. So rotating your ribs around your spine and allowing your arm to fold back, palm up to ceiling, and slowly rotate your ribs around your spine as you reach forward. And enjoying any nice little bonus stretches that you might get along the way. And again, if you wish to, varying it and circling that arm up above the head, taking it back, bending the elbow, and slowly coming forwards a couple of times. Enjoy whichever version gives you the most movement and the best stretch. All right, it's time to fire up some glutes. Are you excited? I am. We're going to come back to our first side. You can get rid of this now. We don't need it anymore. And we're going to come to a full side lie position. Although I will give you two options. Option one, if you prefer a little bit more stability, you're very welcome to keep your lower leg bent with your knee in front of you, as we were in the previous exercise. Otherwise, this time your lower arm will be straight above your head, palm up to ceiling, so not forwards or backwards. And we will bring both our legs to a full straight position here. We want to be in a position where our feet are such that we have our toes just in front, if we give them a little wiggle there. And again, we want to get our hips nice and level, so draw that top hip away from your armpit. You're actually going to need to switch your abdominals on a little bit more to assist you there. You can always bring your fingers in front of you to support you as well. We're going to start off with a little exhale to reach your leg nice and long, taking it just to hip height and lowering it back down. So it's not very high. You're going to do that a couple of times first of all. Just get a nice stable side lie position here. And for those of you who might have hip restrictions, keep it here. If you've got no hip restrictions, I always like to say to people, slightly internally rotate the leg, but it's absolutely fine either way. Internally rotating it will just make you feel it a little bit more. So as we exhale, we are reaching and lengthening that leg away as far as we can. You want to think length, not height here. Keeping hips level, feel those abdominals working. And when we're ready, we're going to go into some circles. So we're going to take our leg to hip height and very slowly, breathing out nice and deeply, you're going to circle from your hip joint forwards. So nice deep breathing throughout. Lower leg is nice and heavy, and top foot is staying roughly above the bottom foot. Again, we're thinking of almost growing our leg away from our hip joint, touching a wall that might be away from us here. Feel free to rest and reset your position at any time you might need to, particularly if you feel like it's fatiguing, because then we're going to go in the opposite direction. So again, we're going to take that leg up and we're going to circle backwards. Yay. So hopefully by now you are starting to feel a little bit of muscle activation in our good friend here. Getting us nice and warm and toasty. And relax. We will do the same on the other side. So you can roll over to your other side of the mat or simply switch ends of the mat. And we will do exactly the same thing again. So we will have lower arm above our head, palm up to ceiling, and feet together. Just make sure that they're not behind you or too far forwards. You just want to be able to see the toes when you glance down there. Draw that top hip down so the hips are level. Again, starting off to exhale to reach and return the top leg. So lengthening away from the hip joint and resisting as you're coming down. Again, not letting gravity do the work for you. So equal energy and speed both directions. And then when you're ready again and have established your stability, taking that leg to roughly hip height and starting to circle that leg forward. So circling from the hip joint, nice and smoothly. Again, not rushing or slowing, just keeping the speed nice and steady until you start to feel a little bit of muscle activation in your rear buttock cheek again. Resetting or resting at any point you need to before taking the leg to hip height and again circling the leg backwards and feeling it again a little bit more. Okay, so hopefully they're wide awake now. We'll reward ourselves with a nice glute stretch. So we're going to come onto our back and come down, bring one heel to your opposite thigh, place your hands underneath the thigh, fingers clasped together, and gently bring the knees a little bit closer in towards the chest without forcing it. Just bring it to a point where you enjoy a nice stretch and release, and stretch it out for at least a good 20 to 30 seconds roughly. Breathing nice and deeply throughout. Feeling the rest of your body relax. Shoulder blades melting into your mat. And then switch sides, bringing your other heel to your other thigh, and again bringing the fingers together, lacing them underneath the thigh, and gently drawing the knees a little bit closer towards the chest without forcing it, and breathing nice and deeply, relaxing your body. Okay, next we're going to come to a seated position to get a little bit of mobility and nice movement into our spine. You've got a couple of options here. The position I'm going to demonstrate in will be with my legs in a V shape. But if you're the sort of person who has tight hamstring muscles, which many of us are, please feel free to cross your legs if that's more comfortable for you, or to put something underneath your sit bones. Just do what's best for you, listen to your body. But I'm going to bring my feet into my little V, not too wide, a little bit wider than hip width apart, and reach my arms forwards. So my arms are shoulder width apart, palms down. I'm going to grow a little bit taller by sitting a little bit forwards on my sit bones and reaching the crown of my head up to the ceiling. As I breathe in, I'm going to then exhale and reach my whole body forwards, looking forwards, and then very slowly restack my spine nice and tall. Get a nice little stretch behind the shoulders here. So breathe in again, and breathing out, travel the whole body forwards. And inhale to return and restack, growing nice and tall again. If you like, you can allow your head to drop down a little bit here as you reach forwards. That's fine. We want to keep our shoulders down as much as we can. And one more. and return. Next, coming into our saw, we will bring our hands behind our head, clasp the fingers together, elbows pointing wide apart, shoulders relaxed. Again, you can do this exercise with your legs crossed. We breathe in to rotate our ribs around our spine. As you breathe out, reach towards your big toe. Slowly return and face yourself to face the middle of your V again. And inhale to rotate again. Sit bones are staying nice and evenly on your mat, and exhaling as you reach forwards. Coming up, restacking your spine, and again facing the middle of your V. Let's do that one more time each side. Breathing in to rotate, and breathing out to reach our big toe. Come back and rotate to the middle. And last one, rotate and exhale. And come back and return. Our last sequence here is to reach our arms nice and tall up to the ceiling, growing taller, arms out to the side, palms down. This time we're going to do our spine twist, so just focusing on the upper body rotation. We breathe in to prepare. As we breathe out, ribs rotate around the spine, chin is staying in line with the middle of the sternum, and return. And breathing in again. And breathing out to the other side. You're reaching your fingertips as far away from one another as possible and keeping them in a nice straight line. Again, keeping nice and even pressure on our sit bones, not moving in our hips. Let's do one more each side to finish off. And last side. All right, give those arms a bit of a shake out. You've probably worked your upper back and your arms a little bit more than you were planning on there. And we will come down to face down on our mat next. So different position. We will place our palms above our head in a diamond shape. Okay, elbows out to the side. This time we are actually going to tuck our pelvis under a little bit to create a bit more length down the front of the hip and to create a little bit more length down our lower back. Legs are nice and relaxed. We're going to breathe in, and as we breathe out, rib cage, bottom bones staying to our mat, we're pressing our hands into the mat and reaching the top of our head forwards to try and touch the wall in front of us, and slowly return. We're going to do that a couple of times, keeping our bottom rib cage bone connected to our mat, breathing in to prepare, and breathing out, lengthening the spine and reaching the top of the head forwards and returning. Let's do that 2 more times. And last one. Okay, change your hand position, bring your hands to your forehead and glue them there, elbows out to side. If you've lost your pelvic tuck, tuck under again and get that connection with your abdominals there. This time we breathe in to prepare, and as we breathe out, our elbows reach away from one another and we reach the top of our head forwards, bottom rib cage bone is staying glued to the mat. It's not a big movement. And slowly return. So breathing out, elbows lift, head goes forwards, lengthen the spine, legs are relaxed. We want to feel this in the upper third of our back, maybe a little bit into the middle of the back as well. Feel free to reset your position at any time you need to. We're going to change the arm position and take the arms down to the side of the body, palms facing inwards, and do the same movement, just with different arm variations. So this time, we inhale to shrug our shoulders to our ears. As we exhale, we shrug our shoulders to our toes and reach our head forward, coming slightly up, and then slowly returning to our starting position. So breathe in, shoulder shrug, and breathe out. Arms are moving away from the head. It's almost like you're stretching your whole body in two different directions, like a piece of chewing gum. Again, bottom ribcage bones staying glued to the mat, and legs are nice and soft. Arms are straight. Feel the palms of the hands sliding down the side of your thighs and returning. Last one. And relax. We'll come into a child's pose stretch to release. So come to the back of your mat, bring your feet together, knees out to the side. Keep your tail down, hands are on the mat in front of you, shoulder width apart. And slowly walk those palms forwards, keeping your tailbone down, stretching out your back wherever it feels like it needs it the most. Enjoy it. Breathing in nice and deeply in and out. And then slowly walk the palms of your hands back. Okay, we're going to come into 4-point kneel position next. So come up onto your knees and bring your hands directly underneath your shoulders. And we want to have our knees directly below our hips, hip width apart. Press your hands firmly into the mat as if you're pushing it away from you, and lift the abdominals, lengthen the back. We're going to start off with some single arm and leg floats and then progress them. So we'll start off just extending, reaching our left arm away, floating it forwards. Tap the mat and return. Press the mat firmly away from you again. Do the same with the opposite arm. You slide it out, you reach it, tap the mat and return. You want to keep your shoulder blades nice and wide here and nice and level, so we're not reaching higher than shoulder height. This is just a preparation. You do the same thing one leg at a time. Let's start with the left leg. Slide it out, exhale to reach the leg, bring it down and slide it back in. And then the same with the right leg, sliding it out, abdominals are lifted as you breathe out to reach and lower and return. Again, one more each side. We're focusing again on length and opposition with this exercise, not the height so much, because you want to keep the hips level. When you're ready, come back to your 4-point kneel position. Make sure your abdominals are lifted and make sure those knees are staying hip width apart. Sometimes they have a tendency to cheat and the knees start coming together. So if you notice that happening, just make sure they come back to hip width apart. This time you're going to take your right arm and left leg away from each other, slide them out, exhale to reach them nice and long, tap the mat and return. And do the same with opposite arm and leg. Switching over, we slide out, exhale to reach, bring it down and return it back in. Let's do that a few more times. Repositioning your 4-point kneel position at any time you need to. And again, last one. And bring it in. We'll do a little cat-cow stretch release here. So starting off, tucking your tailbone under, lifting your abdominals, pressing your hands into the mat, working your way up towards the top of the spine, and then tilting your pelvis in the other direction, working your way up through the spine and looking forwards. Doing that a couple of times. And release, and finish to come out of it Next, lovely people, we're going to do some side planks. So I'll give you a couple of different position options, but I'm going to demonstrate with the simplest variation, which is with my knees together at the front and my heels behind me. In any case, we're going to have our arm, supporting arm bent. Lower forearm at a right angle. We want to have our elbow directly underneath our shoulder. So we don't want to be in couch potato mode. We want to be nice and lifted in the shoulder joint here and have a big window of space here. So you are very welcome also to extend your legs nice and long, either with your feet together or with one leg slightly forwards. I will let you listen to your own body on that one. I'm going to demonstrate here today for the purposes of demonstration. We're going to exhale to push ourselves up, breathing out, arm extends up to the ceiling and slowly control it down and resist. So breathing out, arm is staying slightly in front of the shoulder and coming down. Careful when we're coming down that we're not starting to collapse. Let's do a couple more. And then we will again switch over to our other side and reposition ourselves. Lower forearm at a right angle on our mat, elbow directly underneath the shoulder. Couch potato mode, up we get. All right, exhaling to reach and lengthen, palm up to ceiling and resist slowly as you come down. Hips are staying side by side. Lastly, we're going to come up to a standing position. Next, we're going to do some calf rises. You're going to place your feet hip-width apart and spread out your toes. And we're going to have the pressure underneath the balls of our feet, just underneath our second toe here. Nice and tall, abdominals engaged. You're going to exhale to slightly lift your heels up off the mat and lower back down. Noticing whether the weight is forward or backwards on your feet. As you gain a little bit more confidence, you might like to come up a little bit higher each time, but we want to breathe out as we go up and resist as we slowly come back down. And let's add some arms onto that. We're going to take our arms into a circle in front of us and resist. Exhale, take them up a little bit higher. And come down slowly. Exhale, arms out to the side in front of your body and resist as you lower and down. Okay, reset at any time you need to. Let's do that again. We're coming up and down without rushing too much. Arms forward in front of the body so that we're not coming backwards and down. Good. All right, shake it out and we'll do a little weight transfer. We're going to get our squat on first of all. You're going to take your feet out a little bit wider than hip-width apart. And remembering when we're squatting, we want to be sticking our butt cheeks backwards, knees behind toes. So always got our hips, knees and ankles in a nice straight alignment. So let's do that. We squat and come up. On our next one, we're going to come up, transferring our weight. We're going to come up and reach the arms away from each other, palms down. As you come down to squat, make sure your body weight is directly in the middle. And we're going to come to the other side. That's it. So careful that as you come down, you're not bringing the weight over the knee. You want to keep it right in the middle and come up and up. Two more. Then we'll add on a little variation again. On our next one, if you like, you can come up and hold it there for a little balance, just bringing the foot slightly off, and come down again and do the same thing again. Do one more each side. And last one. Okay, well done everybody. We're going to finish off the class by stretching next. So we're going to come back down onto our mat. So first of all, we're going to start off with a kneeling quad and hip flexor stretch. Come to the back of your mat. You want to have your legs roughly hip width apart again, and start off bringing one foot forwards. So we've got the foot is directly in front of the hip, hips, knees and ankles in a nice straight alignment. Tuck your tailbone under, exhale as you lean forwards, keeping your front foot in front of your knee. We want to feel the stretch down the front of the back quad, possibly a little bit higher up into the hip flexor as well. Optional, you may wish to extend your arm forward. Or of course, keep it on your hip. Help yourself balance by placing your hand on your front thigh if you wish to. As long as you're getting a nice stretch there, that's the main thing. All right, bring it back and we will switch over and do the other side. So placing the other foot forwards. Again, tucking our tailbone under first to get a better quality stretch and protect our lower back. And exhaling to lean forward. Again, checking the position of our foot, and optional bringing our arm forward if you wish to. And coming back again. Next we will do a few more stretches standing up to finish off. So we'll come up to a standing position. We will do a calf stretch first, just using the length of our mat. Bring your feet hip width apart, take one foot back, keep the front of your hips facing forwards, again tuck your tailbone under, press that back heel down into the mat and hold it there again for around 20 to 30 seconds. Spread your feet out, spread your toes out. And switch it over, other foot goes back, feet are hip width apart, parallel. Back leg is straight, press the back heel down. Nice deep breathing throughout if you like, never holding our breath. And then we'll finish off with a nice little side stretch. So feet a little bit wider and hip width apart again. Bring both arms up to the ceiling, palms facing each other. Press your left heel down into the mat. Keep your hips level as you lengthen your spine and reach up towards the ceiling. Getting a nice stretch down the side. Slowly bring the arms back. This time press your right heel down. Lengthen your spine, reach to the ceiling in the opposite direction again. And slowly bring it back and bring your feet a little closer in. We'll stretch our arms out. Arms go up again, one hand to shoulder blade, other hand to elbow. Keep the tailbone tucked under. You should feel a nice little stretch just down the back here. And then switch it over and we will do the other side. Again, just relax your shoulders. We're nearly done. Last of all, we're going to enjoy a little side neck stretch. Just one hand on head, other hand to chest. And without forcing it, just gently guide the head over to the side until you feel a stretch down the side of your neck here. Shoulders level, shoulders relaxed. Slowly return the head back and switch over. Again, using the hand on your head to guide you, not to force you. And slowly tilting it over. And bring it back. I hope you've enjoyed your Pilates mat class today. Thank you very much.